Welcome. In this edition, we would talk about the rural development, specifically the sections on farming. So, how innovation practices have been used in farming. We would be focusing across this lecture on bamboo farming, mushroom cultivation, apiculture, vertical farming, hydroponics, and so on. So, let's just start with the very first aspect, which is innovative farming techniques. Now, bringing in digitization in the farming is one of the important aspects which government is promoting. Under this, the first scheme that has gone is bringing in drones. Also, the farmer producer organization, that is the FPOs, are working to encompass the agricultural value chain system. Now, with the aim of bringing a zero hunger by 2030, which is under the UN sustainable goal, it is really mandatory that we bring in developments that bring in more productivity with the same land which is available, also to have practices for agriculture on the wasteland, on the barren land. So promoting saline agriculture or saline farming is one such effort. Bringing in seaweed farming is another such effort. So in this lecture, as the Kurukshetra goes, we would be discussing only on few of the segments, but again the segments that I am mentioning are highly important for your upcoming mains, specifically those taking geography optional or agriculture as one of the optionals. Now, India's ranking. India holds the top position in production of milk, jute, pulses, second highest in wheat, rice, groundnut, vegetable, fruits, cotton and sugarcane. The recent news for today shows that Amul would be bringing fresh milk to countries across the globe. Now with this prerogative, we have seen that the India's position, which is leading in the milk production, can have global impact, right? So bringing in the dynamics or bringing in the innovative practices can actually bring in higher developments and growth opportunities and more export potentials for the country. Now, one of the important aspect is precision agriculture. Now, this form of agriculture is highly utilized in Israel, as we have seen in the regions of Negev desert when we were discussing the lectures on geography. The precision agriculture and bringing in the same in India has been really important, but for that, training and better equipments have to be provided. So sensors, drones, GPS are some of the equipments that have to be provided, and a required training in the same segment. The next is smart farming. So under the section on smart farming, IoT or Internet of Things has been aggregated to bring in automation in agricultural systems. Along with that, bringing in enhancement in the quality and the quantity has been done through bringing in artificial intelligence. So use of satellites, robots, GPS, data analytics have been some of those. The next is controlled environment. Now let's say with climate change, we are seeing vagaries of environment, or this could be sudden drop in the temperature, sudden rise in the temperature, unexpected rainfall. So how can you have agriculture in a controlled environment? So creating greenhouse for the same, or focusing on vertical farming, specifically in the urban areas where you have crunch or the scarcity for the land. Use of blockchain technology. Now this can be maintained by not only the farmers but also at the level of wholesalers. So the record of every transaction can be seen, and every movement of agricultural product can be traced. For the use of digital technologies, as I mentioned, one is the use of GPS, the second is use of drones, automated technology with sensors, then variable rate technology. Now this is really important and useful technology where you can identify how much water is required in which kind of land, what or how much proportion of fertilizers have to be required, herbicides have to be required, and accordingly those could be allotted to the farmers, and this would bring in better results with higher productivity. Smart irrigation is again one of the important segments that we focus on. Then data-driven farm management. Under data-driven farm management, we understand first of all the existing results from that piece of land, and then we derive certain data and certain statistics. Using the analytics, we understand what kind of crop can be best sown in the region and what combinations of crop, as per the Rafiullah or the Doe or the Weaver's method that we have covered in geography optional, we can understand which combinations can suit better. And this data driven farm management technology using crop combination and crop diversification can be brought. Using robots, machine learning and blockchain, as we already discussed, are some of the other aspects. Now, the next important thing that we understand here is bringing the developments in a specific segment. So the first segment that we would focus today is bamboo farming. Now, bamboo can serve as a primary crop or a secondary crop. Initially, it was categorized in the category of trees, but now in the category of grass, and therefore cutting for bamboo has been allowed. Now, use of bamboo has been used for various purposes. For example, for manufacturing of items, for furnitures, also for medicinal purposes, anti-inflammatory purposes. For the bamboo, the climate requirement ranges from 7 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, which is a huge range. Again, the rainfall variability is again huge, from 120 centimeters to 400 centimeters. They are actually seen well in stony soils, coarse soils, and even in the well-drained soils. The pH ranges from 5 to 6.5, and the researchers have shown that the bamboo culm growth is promoted by the soil, which is rich in phosphorus, potash, calcium and silica, and it can tolerate huge amount of variability, including the saline soil. Even in the flooding areas, these can grow. Now, for higher quality bamboo shoots, mulching is one of the techniques which is used, and this suppresses the growth of the weed as well as maintains the moisture of the soil. A thick layer of leaf litter is allowed, and this actually is where the bamboo cluster soils and mulching takes place. And finally, high quality bamboo shoots can be obtained from this region. Soil molding is another technology which is practiced when the plant rhizomes are protruding from the soil. Bamboo pest control is important, but usually we see that they are susceptible only to two infections, rot and mildew. So protecting them from these two is important. Sometimes you do have insects or aphids that could be seen on bamboo, but removing the weeds by loosening the soil from the plant to a depth of 15 centimeter is really important. The next is harvesting. Harvesting can take place somewhere around 4 to 6 years after the crop is sown, and then bamboo is again harvested as a plantation crop. So there are 2 to 3 years old clumps which could be used with mechanical procedures. Now, as we see, the consumable is the stem. It is also used for timber production. Now, when you are using it for timber production, it is important to note that it is the kind of bamboo that is used is not affected by the insects or the aphids or the mildew or the rots. Now, where are bamboo used? As I already mentioned, for medicinal purposes, for the fabrication. It is used for antibacterial property because it has the antibacterial property even after the weaving is done. So bamboo fiber becomes an important antibacterial fiber and is being sold in international market. It also has lower static electricity which can be seen, and higher quality cloth with more airy and light feel. As mentioned before, even for utensils and furniture, bamboo is used. In Manipur, in Chorchandpur, the Zokam bamboo is used for making tiffin carriers and is used by the local people as one of the important components. The economic contribution in terms of market share for the bamboo is very high. We have 35% of the market share in industrial goods which is accounted by bamboo, and this has significantly increased to $57 billion. The market share mainly includes the bamboo flooring, the pulp, the paper and the plywood which is obtained from bamboo. The next is mushrooms. Now, mushroom is a lucrative industry. There was one of the questions which was asked on mushrooms, the Gucci mushrooms, in 2022 prelims, I guess, and this is really important. Now, mushrooms have been used as edible fungi. There are various habitats in which mushrooms grow, that is the wild soil or the wood. Even the Aryans used to make soma, which was one of their popular powder drinks, and this was extracted from the mushroom Amanita muscurus. Also, we have the Kaiser's mushroom, which is important and has been considered as a delicacy during the Roman Empire. Even in the present day scenario, nearly 650 million tons of crop residue is generated, with cereal crops contributing to 380 million tons, wheat and rice to another proportion, and there has been only 0.03% of the fraction which comes from mushroom cultivation. This can be significantly improved. In Japan, we can see that there has been a significant cultivation of mushroom, with a forest area covering 70% of the lands through mushrooms, and it has definite export potentials. It is one of the highly priced commodities. For example, the shiitake mushroom is one of those. Gucci mushroom, which is found only in fewer belts of central Himalayas at higher altitudes in a specific temperature zone, is again important. The shiitake mushroom is regarded because it has huge medicinal properties. It has a huge segment of amino acids and enzymes which are present, and it has been developed by Directorate of Mushroom Research and Indian Institute of Horticultural Research in Bangalore. The next is for medicinal purposes. Mushrooms have been used for various diseases. Even as dietary supplement, Genomyrda species is used. It is considered to have higher quality protein, with 30 to 40% of the dry weight which is present. Vitamin D, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin are some of the aspects which are used under it. Now, the network of the mushroom is known as the mycelium. That is common for all the fungi if you have gone through the plant classification carefully. There are alternatives which are coming up where the use for mushroom has gone beyond food. So it has been used for petroleum, for animal welfare, for renewable and non-renewable alternatives, and there are various startups working in the same segment. There have been numerous success stories. For example, in the Paonta Sahib in Himachal Pradesh, there has been a production of nearly 10,000 tons of mushrooms on an annual basis. Similarly, we have studies from Solan. Jiva Foods and Bajwa Foods have been working on the same basis. The next is vertical farming. Now, vertical farming is, as we already mentioned, in the urban areas where you have scarcity of the land, and some of the techniques or some of the cultivations that have been done in vertical farming which have been highly successful is saffron, the growth of saffron. Also, hydroponics, that is growing only by the use of water, has been one of the technologies through which saffron cultivation has been seen. There are various companies, the list of them have been mentioned here, which you can go through, and they have been working successfully. Now, when we talk about the technique of vertical farming on a soilless medium, this technique has been adopted across the globe. Similarly, you have another technique which is aeroponics, which is use of only air. Now, this has been used by NASA initially for a space where they wanted to have plants being grown in the space, but after the results, we have seen 90% less water is used, and one of the largest aeroponics vertical farm is being established in the regions of New Jersey. Aquaponics is used for fish farming. That is another technology that has been used. Other than these, other types of hydroponics which are used includes deep water culture, where the roots are immersed in a nutrient solution. Nutrient film technology, where there is a continuous flow of nutrient solution. Ebb and flow technology, where nutrient and oxygen are supplied to the roots and then drained by the solution back into a reservoir. Drip system, which talks about drip irrigation. Aeroponics, where we already discussed. Wicking system, where a cotton rope is put, and through the wick the nutrients are transported slowly. Vertical tower systems, and one of the important one is Crati method. Crati method is a method where hydroponics is set up without electronic equipment or electricity and has been highly successful for food cultivation. Now, this method has been used extensively and has been promoted extensively because it is without the use of any electrical or electronic equipment. Now, what are the benefits of vertical farming? Vertical farming obviously requires lesser land. It is more easier than conventional farming. It requires lesser water. It can be done in microclimates or micro buildings, we could say, and therefore has more flexibility. Fresh produce can be obtained, and automated monitoring systems can be brought, but it does has disadvantages. One of the major disadvantage is the initial investment that has to be done for vertical farming, and lack of expertise and training for the same. Now the next is for the crop management. A pH range of 5.5 to 6.5 is required for best optimum utilization of the resources. We have the list of vertical farming for the green vegetables, herbs and fruits, which you can see. Among the fruits, common fruits that can grow in vertical farming or hydroponics include strawberry and blueberry, but there are still a lot way ahead that we need to go. Collaborative researches can be brought, and year-round cultivation is another important aspect that we need to focus there. The next is apiculture, which is mainly the honey production. In one of the editions of Down to Earth, we have previously talked about the adulteration in the honey, and there we discussed about apiculture again in a brief summary, but here we need to understand how India has been ranking one of the highest in terms of production, with 1.2 lakh metric tons of honey production on an yearly basis. It has been providing employment to a huge number of people, and also bringing in possibilities for pollination and forest sustainability, because honey bees are considered as one of the important pollinators in the ecosystem. There are worldwide nearly 20,000 species of wild bees that exist, and those who reside in extensive colonies have nearly 1 lakh individuals in one colony of the honeybee. Bees usually take nearly a 3 to 4 week to have the complete process for storing, ripening and sealing of the honeycomb cells. Now the species, there are 3 species found in India: Dorsetta, Mellifera and Serena. Across the globe, the list of species that you can see are very different, but the honey yield is again different. So from Mellifera, which is the European bee, the honey yield is very high, and again from the rock bee, which is the Apis dorsata, the production is high. Himalayan bee, which is lesser seen, has the highest yield, around 40 to 45 kgs per hive that can be obtained. Now there are various equipments which are used for beekeeping. The use of those and the development of those is important. Then the techniques, which include the supplemental feeding, the swarm control, the management of higher yields, the management of the bees itself. Then the geography, where these bees could be found, what are the regions, the potential colonies of the existing bee, the areas where they can pollinate, the aspect of maintaining the genetic diversity, because India hosts 5 of the 7 honeybee species which are commercially significant worldwide, and therefore India's effort towards apiculture is really important. Now the industrial demand has been rising, specifically for the pharma industry, for the Ayurveda industry. There has been a huge demand for honey. For the dietary preferences, specifically for diabetes, it is one of the prescribed things. So honeybees have certain benefits which make it a popular component, honey as a popular component of diet. It has blood purifying property, throat soothing for throat infections, eye ailments, hypertension, digestive issues, cosmetic products for reducing the fever, ulcers, indigestion and gastrointestinal ailments. Honey is considered a boon. Now there have been various prominent companies which have been working in line with bringing in honey, but in the previous edition of Down to Earth, you can check those in the playlist, we have covered the adulteration across the various species, which was one of the exclusive reports brought by Down to Earth itself. But when we are talking about opportunities and market trend, royal jelly from honey is considered as a dietary supplement. It also has benefit to reduce the cholesterol levels, reduce inflammation, wound healing, and has antibiotic properties as well. Now there are different types of honey which is present. The list of those is given here, you can check those in the handout. Talking about the next issue, which is the dairy and the fishery sector. Now, Amul has been working as one of the cooperatives. Nandini is another cooperative in the regions of South. Similar dairy cooperatives we have been seeing across India, but they do have numerous challenges and ways forward. One of the important challenges is the network under which the storage could be done. Transportation could be done, so maintaining cold storage, transportation, and a smooth flow of the products from the producer to the consumers is again an important challenge. Bringing in innovative solutions so that the shelf life of the product can be increased. Even for the policy making, we have schemes like Rashtriya Gokul Mission, National Program for Dairy Development, Animal Disease Control Programs, which are some of those. So high genetic merit bulls and reinforcement of artificial insemination have been one of the important aspects. The idea is to increase the milk production and also to maintain the livestock health and control the diseases. One of the very important disease that we need to control is the foot and mouth disease, which has been highly prevalent in buffalo, sheep, goat, pig, and other population. And along with that, brucellosis is another important disease which is commonly seen. So those are some of the schemes for dairy. Then for the fishery, PM Matsya Sampada Yojana is one of the important schemes. Technology has been brought and modernization has been important in the development of fishery sector. White revolution for the dairy, the post-white revolution scenario, that was after the efforts of Varghese Kurian, the Operation Flood, which actually helped in the growth production from the 1973 figures. We have seen there has been a significant increase, and the per capita milk production increased from 40 kg per year to nearly 154 kgs per year, and that was merely in the years of in a 50 years period. So that has been a significant figure that we need to understand. Now, even for the fish, there has been the post blue revolution, white revolution for dairy, blue revolution for fisheries. Now, India now contributes third largest figures for fishery. 8% of the global fish output comes from India, and India has the second position in the aquaculture production. So both of them are really important. Now, the scheme is integrated development and management of fisheries under blue revolution, and the Matsya Sampada Yojana, which we already talked about. Also, there are two important advanced technologies in aquaculture. One is the recirculating aquacultural systems and integrated multi-trophic aquaculture, which have been working forward. Next is floriculture and orchids. Now, under floriculture and orchids, there are various native species which are part of India. For example, the Dendrobium, Vanda, and Arachnis. These are varied species. They have various shapes, colors that are seen, and they are well adapted to different climatic conditions. The Vanda orchid is seen mainly in the regions of tropics. Northeast states are again considered as hotspots for orchids, but the varieties that are grown are extensively different there. They have been now used for commercial purpose and being worked for commercial aspects, specifically for export opportunities. But there has been a huge gap, or the challenge which we could say, mainly in the field of infrastructure, technology, disease and pest management, and then the market availability. So those are some of the aspects that need to be identified in that line. The last topic that we will discuss for today is the organic farming. Now, organic farming has been one of the important components of India since the Harappan civilization, but over the years we have identified that moving back to our previous ways of technology for farming could prove beneficial and could increase the productivity of the soil as well, without deteriorating the situation of the soil. So here we have been working with biofertilizers, green manures, vermicompost and crop residues. The top 10 states which have been working on organic production are Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Karnataka, UP. Sikkim has been declared as a 100% organic state. Then over the years, again, we have seen a very high increase in the organic products, and the organic products have shown to generate a revenue of nearly 5,000 500 crores, and this has been exported to countries like European Union, United States, Canada, Britain, Switzerland, Turkey, and so on. Now, the incentives have been given in various forms. For example, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana is one scheme. The National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture is another scheme for promotion of organic farming. And then reaching these goals, making those economically viable are important. But one of the important challenges that we face is the higher cost for initial certification of an organic product, also the market infrastructure, the financial hardships for the growers who don't get the required amount for the organic, and then quality control and certification, as I already mentioned, are some of the important challenges. So those were some of the issues that we have discussed in this, but still there are numerous ways ahead with agriculture. Bringing in research and development, sustainable government policies, collaborative efforts, role of FPOs, and educating the consumers can bring in a drastic change in the way agriculture can actually revive in India. So those were some of the topics that we have discussed. Thanks for joining in. We'll be bringing in many other interesting topics. Have a wonderful day ahead.